We're only halfway through December, but so much has already happened this month. Feels like there was no time to breathe. We went to Selva Dorada, found an ancient relic that might help with Bitch's werewolf transformations, and broke the curse of Madre Kazecha, which in turn freed the souls of the living and the dead in Belamicia. Back home, we solved the mystery of the missing Jill, which led us directly into a war with the resident witch hunters. We won, even killed their leader in the process, but not without some losses on our side as well. I barely knew Olga Strankova, but I still feel guilty, because I'm the one who asked her to come here. After her body was transported back to Strangerville by the SCIA, Tiamo traveled there with Serena to attend her funeral. Meanwhile, the rest of us are trying to carry on with our everyday lives, and rekindle relationships that have suffered as a result of recent events. Some prove to be broken beyond repair though.
Seriously? You haven't visited the magic realm since the war?
After the Ageless Sage's betrayal, we had no reason to go back. He really should have let us fight the witch hunters alongside you. Lumi is resuming her training to become a moon priestess under Damaris's tutelage, but the rest of us want nothing more to do with that society.
Does that mean you all quit your jobs as well?
No, I'm still writing for the Monthly Glimmer, which thankfully doesn't require frequent visits to the magic realm, and my husband can make and sell his potions wherever he wants. Only Stella Maria had to quit. As a former romp agent, her ties to the magic realm were literally in her job title. But her plan is to apply to the Mortal Police Department now that that witch-hating corrupt cop is gone. What was his name again?
Aaron Bell. Anyway, Stella Maria has my blessing. Wouldn't hurt to have an ally in the police force who can get our asses out of the interrogation room in case of any magic-related incidents.
That's not why she's applying. You'll still have to keep your criminal activities in check. It's best if you don't even mention them around me.
Party pooper.
But there is another problem. If the magic realm is no longer an option, where is this year's winter solstice celebration going to take place? I was really looking forward to it, especially considering the unique birthday present we made for Wilbica.
That's right, we're going to need a new hangout as well. What do you think of All Hags Cemetery and Forgotten Hollow?
The old bar next to your house where we celebrated our birthdays? Better than this place for sure, but still too mainstream for my liking. Too many mortal visitors.
Not anymore. If I buy the bar from the city and declare it an occult exclusive playground, I might scrape up the money to do so legally, but a change in the digital land register can take ages and will certainly not go through before the winter solstice. Or I can ask a dear friend to do the official's job for them, completely without spending any money. Good thing my favorite hacker recently got back from his Sulani vacation.
Well, in that case, great idea. Do what you can to secure that location for us.
So now all of a sudden you no longer mind my criminal activities, huh? And surely you won't tell your cop sister about them.
No idea what you mean. I can't tell Stella Maria anything I don't know. And I should really go now, because I have things to do.
Evangelina, wait. Before you go. A while back I asked for your help undoing the spell that makes the moon appear perpetually full over my town and yours, so Bitch could return home. You refused because of your devotion to the old customs and traditions of the magic community. Has your opinion on that changed now that we're no longer loyal to the Ageless Sage?
I knew you'd bring that up again someday. Okay, fine. I still think it won't be as easy as you imagine it to be, but I'll look into it. See you, Aya. Bye, Mom.
And so she just leaves us here with the bill. Can you believe it?
I find it a lot more unbelievable that she finally called me Mom again. Did you hear that?
I did. Kind of makes you regret that you abandoned her when she was just a toddler, doesn't it?
Not a day has gone by since I left her behind, or you, that I haven't regretted my decisions. But you never gave up on me even when the witch hunter's mind controlled me into attacking you, and for that, I owe you even more than I did before.
Yeah, but before that, I blamed you for kidnapping Mischief Minnie without checking the facts first. I'd say we're even.
The worst thing is, I was fully conscious most of the time. I remember kidnapping the little one, watching him and Evelyn nearly get killed by that laser gun, screaming inside, but unable to do anything about it. Every time I tried to resist, it hurt so bad that I was seeing stars. I also remember hitting you with my handbag at the Bell's house, and again at that bar. I suppose I must have been conscious as well when I wrote that bloody message on the kitchen wall, and through all the other things the devil made me do beforehand, but at least she was kind enough to remove those memories afterwards. She probably would have removed all the others too, if she had lived long enough.
Oh, I'm certain of it. Because she would have killed you, effectively wiping your memory clean. But I wiped her out, so that's one thing we no longer have to worry about.
I didn't like Delilah when we first met, because her history of abandoning 2 children reminded me too much of what my own parents did to me. But she was there to help me raise my son, which made me warm up to her, and eventually, even Aya and Evangelina were able to forgive her. Neglectful or downright abusive parents seem to be a recurring theme in this family and our friends' families, though. Olga's father may have been kind to her on the surface, but she never forgave him for all the things he had done to her in secret, and after her death, the SCIA made sure not to bury her anywhere near Dr. Strankov.
The old Penelope. This is where I first met Olga, and a few other residents of Strangerville who wouldn't leave me alone afterwards. I'd rather not go in there now.
You think you're famous enough that your mere presence would distract everybody from the fact that they're supposed to grieve for Olga.
Well, believe it or not, but
I do believe it. And I'm not in the mood for a funeral party anyway. I'd rather go back to the trailer, cry myself to sleep, and return home at the first light of dawn. What are your plans?
I think I'll reminisce about Olga by visiting a few places around here that remind me of her. See you tomorrow at the airport then.
Yes. Good night.
Is that Elise? What is she doing here?
Mr. Mammini. So that was really you I saw at the funeral, alongside Miss Kaylani.
And I've been trying so hard to blend in.
Don't worry, you did a good job, just not good enough to fool me. Do you remember who I am?
Of course. Valerie Ravenhurst, director of the SCIA, and General Martin Ravenhurst. We broke into Crater Labs and fought the mother plant together.
And that was when the SCIA decided to recruit Agent Strankova. A pity it had to end like this.
Everybody grieves in their own way. If you don't feel like joining the funeral party, perhaps you'd like to join us instead? We could get each other up to speed about our mutual acquaintances.
I'll take a wild guess and assume you're talking about Grande. So you're not keeping tabs on him at all.
Please. As if my wife had nothing better to do than spying on her former agents. God only knows how many matters of international security are put on hold while she's just taking the evening off to attend a funeral.
Well, about that, what happens to the assignments Olga has been working on now that she's no longer around? Like the one about the temporal anomalies that brought her to Windenburg on Halloween.
That is not something I can talk about with an ordinary civilian.
No idea how he did it. There must have been some mind control involved, or perhaps sexual favors. I don't even want to think about it. But Tiamo somehow convinced the SCIA to stop looking for Elise, opening a door for her to return to her old life in Windenburg. Unfortunately, that didn't solve all our problems. There's still the matter of a certain intrepid journalist that Aya had placed under house arrest to stop her from trying to expose us. Wilbica suggested simply throwing her back into the wishing well, or blowing her up in garden gnome form and passing it off as a freak accident. But given that the many cases of random people going missing in Forgotten Hollow led to our war with the witch hunters in a roundabout way, Aya decided to try a different approach.
This is the address. Looks a lot fancier than I expected though. Sure, there's no other street with the same name.
Why do you ask me that? I told you, I may know all the buses that go to San Myshuno, but that doesn't make me an expert tour guide.
Then try harder. If you're using me as an excuse to avoid your family, you might as well make yourself useful. I know you're in there, Jillian Chopra. I can hear you typing your next slanderous article. Now open the fucking door or I'll blow it open and then do the same thing to your head.
Alright, I'm coming. Hey, where are you going?
The online job market. Doesn't look like research for a Moon News article.
Guess what? I no longer work at Moon News. My boss didn't take kindly to me disappearing for almost a year after I started and never finished writing that article about mysterious disappearances in Forgotten Hollow, even though it kind of proves my point.
Is that how you explained your absence? And did you blame any witches for it?
No. As per your instructions, I told Miss Knox that I was sick and tired of how she treated me, and decided to go AWOL for a while, to make her realize just how much she needs me. It didn't work. Now there's a big fat redhead sitting in my chair.
A big fat redhead? Really? That's not a very politically correct thing to say.
You know what's not politically correct? Them replacing me with a white woman, the second I didn't show up for work.
Yeah, whatever. Keep wallowing in your victimhood if it's that comfortable. I only care about the things you tell the public about my family. Keep your mouth shut and we won't have a problem. If you talk,
then you'll come back, rip out my tongue, and tickle my bumhole with it until I laugh myself to death. Yes, I remember the exact wording of your threat.
Good to see we understand each other perfectly. Have a nice day, Jillian.
Sometimes you scare the shit out of me. Do you realize that? The part about tickling her bumhole with her own severed tongue was funny, until I realized that you could probably do exactly that with magic.
Or without. Let's do something else to get your mind off things. Want to see a movie?
Anything that doesn't involve going where my mother is at the moment.
Jaden's mother isn't actually the problem. His father is. Aaron Bell and the other witch hunters who survived the war are about to be transferred to a high-security prison for their role in the murder of an CIA agent, and everything else that happened in Port Promise the other day. But for now, they're still around, enjoying their last days of, well, not freedom exactly, but it's only going to go downhill from here.
Hi, Dad.
David. I'm glad to see you alive and well. And Evelyn too. Where is Jacob?
It didn't seem like you cared all that much the last time we spoke.
I never stopped caring for my family. In fact, it's the very reason I did what I did. And I would do it again, and worse things, if it meant protecting my loved ones. You coming here to see me must mean that at least a part of you understands that, even if it took you a couple of days.
We know where they're taking you, and that we won't be able to visit you there. Even though I don't agree with your worldview, I couldn't just let you go without saying goodbye. Not as long as we're married. And about that.
Wait, you're divorcing me? After all these years, and everything we've been through?
What do you expect me to do, Aaron? You know our marriage would never be the same again, even if you could come home with me now. The way you keep misusing your faith to hate people just because they're different. I can't reconcile that with my own interpretation of God's message, or with myself. I am not a hateful person. I choose to love my children, my sister, my friends, and all the people who need protection from witch hunters like you.
So you love everybody but me? You can't be serious. Has their black magic really messed up your mind this badly? Or have you always been insane and just way too good at hiding it?
Believe it or not, I still wish you the best. Just not with me. Goodbye, Aaron.
No! Don't go!
Come, David.
What?
I dedicated my life to providing for this family, and this is how you thank me for it. Yeah, I wish you all the best too. May you find happiness in the arms of some rotten vampire, at least until he starts biting your neck and you realize just how much better you could have had it, you hypocritical, ungrateful bitch.
One relationship that might have been happy at some point has come to an end. Another that was never really happy to begin with is struggling. Even with the witch hunters out of the picture, the infighting among the occults themselves is still as severe as ever.
You and I seem to have vastly different interpretations of the term success, Loki. You may have killed the leader of the witch hunters, but they killed one of our kind as well.
You mean the vampire who got shot by Bogo, who then shot himself? Do you even know his name? Because Charmaine doesn't.
I do, but nobody ever asks the dog, do they?
Not the point. But speaking of Charmaine, wasn't she gravely injured, and Esperanza Pintado as well, while Camille's encounter with a certain huntress left them traumatized? How come no witches were harmed on this mission, only vampires? Because they were only there to be used as cannon fodder, I assume.
Charmaine and Esper both got better. In fact, you'd like the latter's new attitude. She never felt comfortable being a vampire before, but now she admits that it has saved her life, again. That wouldn't have happened without the bullet wound she received on the mission, as you call it.
And how long will she get to enjoy her newfound confidence as a vampire before we're all exposed by that mortal reporter bitch you let go?
Hey, I'm still here.
Gillian Chopra is no longer working for that gossip rack that nobody ever took seriously anyway, and the situation is under control.
You always say that, until the next big thing blows up in your face. Which will be the blasted journalist's report, if you don't tie up that loose end as soon as possible.
It's pointless. Mercury will never change his ways, he'll just keep blaming witches and mortals for all his problems, and I'm running out of ideas on how to deal with him.
He talked about tying up loose ends, which I think is a great idea. Whenever you want me to rip out the vampire overlord's throat and be done with him for good, just give the order.
Maybe violence is not the answer in this case, bitch.
You know, I appreciate the few people in this world who can read my mind and understand what I'm saying, but you're getting a little too good at it. Could I have some privacy, please?
Look who's here.
I figured I'd find you here, Loki. You've been spending a lot of time with Amara lately. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, writing our book about the fairies. I've already told you that.
And that is the only reason. For sure.
What I have to say concerns both of you anyway, and bitch. My half-sister pored over some ancient books with Tally, and came up with a way to get rid of the perpetually full moon over Forgotten Hollow and Glimmerbrook.
Finally, I was just thinking about how much I'd like to return home and have my thoughts to myself again.
We must perform a ritual, of course, one they thought was impossible because it requires the silver moon crystal, but fortunately that just happens to be my most valued souvenir from our trip to Mount Komorebi earlier this year. With Tally and 4 of the Popescu's on board, all we need now is 7 more witches to go through with it, 13 in total, all wearing white clothes.
The latter won't be a problem, but I'm a hybrid, not a regular witch.
I'm a regular witch, but a really, really bad one.
Doesn't matter. The books only speak of witches, not necessarily skilled ones or pure ones.
In that case, I'll ask my daughter as well. Surely she'll be eager to help, if just out of spite because the ageless sage took away her chance to avenge her husband.
What about Lord Henford and Vero?
They're next on my list of witches I'm going to ask.
But as it turned out, not everybody was on board with breaking one of the magic community's oldest curses or rebelling against its most important authority figure. Lord Henford was especially hard to convince, and Vero didn't agree to the plan at all.
No, I'm afraid I don't have anything to wear for this particular occasion.
Oh, come on. White is not my favorite color either, but if even I was able to find something.
It's not just that. Look, I understand that you're angry, but breaking rules and alienating the community isn't going to get us anywhere in the long run. I already offered the Mamminis my help in dealing with their familiar's werewolf problem, but I'm not going to switch off the moon for them. Now excuse me, I have the morning shift tomorrow, and as a former romp agent, you must remember what that's like. I should really go to sleep. Good night.
That's going to be a problem. With Vero and Lumi having second thoughts, and Lucian and Tiamo Mammini not around, how many participants do we actually have in this ritual?
The 4 of us, the 2 Duplantiers, Amara, Henford, Aya, Wilbica, and both Lokis. We're 1 witch short.
Or 2. I'm still not convinced that baby Loki counts as a separate entity from his adult version.
Well, let's go to Forgotten Hollow and hear what the others have to say. Perhaps Aya was able to recruit someone else.
And was she?
No idea. I only just got the text about Vero. They must be meeting to perform the ritual as we speak. I wasn't invited because, well, I'm not a witch.
And I was one only in my past life, not sure if that counts. Too bad I can't be with the others right now thanks to the full moon, because if I was, I would definitely win the white breast competition.
Feels like I've been gone for a lot longer than just 2 weeks, with everything I missed. But at least I'll be able to tell my friends that I succeeded in providing them with a new hangout after the Magic Realm. Ladies and gentlemen, Aya Mammini is now listed as the sole owner of All Hags Cemetery in the Digital Land Register.
Awesome.
So, that's it then? We can't go through with the ritual because we are not enough witches?
Perhaps it's a sign that we shouldn't go through with it at all.
Hello? We broke the curse that was trapping you in the Selvadoradian jungle, and even gave you your life back, and now you can't do this one little thing for us in return without pissing your pants?
I am grateful for your actions, which is frankly the only reason I came here tonight. Well, that, and to help your pet familiar, because she and I have a special bond. But the prophecy, an old enemy slain, a new enemy gained. What if this is what it was referring to? We defeated the witch hunters, and now a new war will break out between us and the part of the magic community that sides with the ageless sage.
I know, I was with you when you had the vision. But would the ageless sage really go to war over us restoring the lunar cycle that nature had intended? He can't be that petty.
Good question. Given what's going on in Shadow Vale at the moment, though, I'm more convinced that this new enemy is going to be Mercury.
However petty the ageless sage may or may not be, we're not going to find out today. As my mother said, the ritual can't work without a 13th witch.
Good thing I am here then. You weren't seriously going to have a party without me, were you?
Hi Tiamo. Back from Strangerville already?
Just in time it seems. And I've brought another witch as my guest, so whatever it is that you need 13 witches for, I think you have more than enough now.
Don't take this the wrong way, Elise. I'm glad you're back, but what were you doing in Strangerville of all places?
I heard about what happened to Olga. Even though we were enemies of sorts, I know she was a good person. So I attended her funeral to pay my last respects to her. And, well, now I'm back here because Tiamo made sure I no longer have to hide from the SCIA.
And you couldn't possibly have chosen a better point in time to return. It seems like we're complete after all. Now if you and Tiamo could slip into something white, the ritual can begin.
Everyone else, get into groups of 3 and practice your lines. Each group needs to recite 1 line of the original incantation in reverse. The 13th witch, preferably someone powerful, goes in the middle and activates the silver moon crystal when it's time.
I volunteer for the middle.
For practical reasons, because you're the most powerful witch among us, or because you don't feel like learning to speak backwards?
Some things are better left to your imagination.
Almighty Mother Moon, as you rule the skies at night, we call you as your children, assembled in your light. Let your power touch the air, the water, and the ground.
Let your image shine upon us now and all year round.